Cyberpunk 2077 for the Switch 2 may not be the best way to play Cyberpunk, but there's one reason why I keep coming back to it. So Cyberpunk 2077 came to the Nintendo Switch 2, and with it came a bunch of cool exclusive features that are unique to this console. Most of them are in the ways of controls. So as I'm sure many people have seen, you can pop off a Joy-Con, get this thing on, and you can use mouse mode. You can play like this. You can aim, shoot, play the whole game as if you have a mouse. It automatically flips the buttons, so normally you press R, right trigger to shoot when you have it connected, but when you don't, it flips to this, so it's more like a left mouse click to shoot. It's handy, it's cool. Another feature, you can play with gyro controls. So gyro controls let you aim using your Joy-Con. It's also kind of cool. I don't really do it a lot though. The thing that I mostly play Cyberpunk 2077 with is a controller. To be fair, the Switch 2 controller is very, very good. You can map buttons in the back. You can do that to every game. But with Cyberpunk, I found it particularly useful because there are kind of a lot of inputs. I'd map B to the back, so as I was driving, I could easily drift. And also this control just feels so much better than sort of the inaccurate gyro controls or the sort of awkward mouse controls. I will say mouse controls are cool. I did play a bit with it, but I think outside of combat, outside of like aiming my gun at enemies' heads, I didn't find it super useful. I think I'd much rather get the sort of controlled movements of a control stick. The other feature that you have with the Nintendo Switch 2 is touch controls. Now, touch controls are a first for Cyberpunk, despite the fact that you can play Cyberpunk on your Steam Deck, but there are no touch controls. And all that kind of amounts to is you can navigate the menu with your finger. Now, I'm a bit of a weirdo, and I don't like to touch the screen of any of my devices. As you can see, there's some dust. No fingerprints. Do you see a fingerprint? I'm sure those touch controls work great. Didn't really test them out. I touched it and then immediately wiped it down.
Do I touch my Switch? Do I touch my Switch? Is that what you're asking me?
The screen.
Do you touch the Switch screen?
No. I don't like the fingerprints on it either.
You're probably wondering how it runs. And if you are wondering, you probably already watched the Digital Foundry video. But to recap that, essentially there's 4 modes, 2 for handheld and 2 for docked. Both versions have a quality and performance mode. Quality runs at a capped 30 frames per second, and performance runs at 40 frames a second. It's the same docked and undocked. The only difference is resolution. So obviously when you're playing handheld, the resolution shrinks down quite a bit. That said, one of the more interesting things that we've run into is that you cannot play Cyberpunk 2077 in performance mode docked unless you have a 120 hertz monitor. This is because it runs at 40 frames a second. I believe that's why, right? Because it targets 40 frames, it needs to be 120.
Yeah, so you got to set it to 1080p mode on the TV. It can't be 4K. And then you got to make sure you have 120 on, which most modern 4K TVs can do at this point. But yeah, to your point, if it doesn't, you're out of luck.
Can't really use it. The thing is though, is because even if you have a 120 hertz TV and you do have it docked, it still doesn't support VRR while docked. And the frame rate kind of jumps around a lot. It obviously aims for 40, but it ends up being more like low 30s. And based on the Digital Foundry video, you can really kind of see the jumps. However, if you're playing handheld and you use performance mode, Then it uses the screen's internal VRR to sort of smooth out those frame rate drops, and it runs pretty well. If you are playing handheld, then I think the way to do it is performance mode, for sure. So all in all, performance-wise, Cyberpunk 2077 runs pretty well on this thing. I'd say it's pretty comparative to like a PS4. It does beat out the PS4 in a lot of aspects, but I'd say it's kind of around that point. However, one of the more interesting things is that the Phantom Liberty DLC is included in this version of Cyberpunk. And if you remember, Phantom Liberty was not available on the Xbox One or PS4 because of tech issues. Apparently, it just couldn't run all that well. And oddly enough, you kind of see it in this. So I did drive around a bit in Dogtown, and I definitely noticed some performance hitches in Dogtown that I did not see in the base game. So that's something to keep in mind. I think it's pretty cool that they managed to fit that on there, but it doesn't run as well as it does otherwise. But that's not the reason why I keep coming back to playing Cyberpunk 2077 on my Switch. I would say the best feature, and I think the feature that every single port for the Nintendo Switch 2 should have, it won't happen because I'm sure it's crazy expensive and not every studio can spend lots of money getting this feature in, is cross-save. The second I bought this thing, I installed Cyberpunk, I connected it to my CD Projekt Red account, and I uploaded my most recent save, and immediately I was playing a PC save that I started a while ago that I was trying to 100% it, and now I can 100% Cyberpunk on the go. It's super easy. All you have to do is log into your account, make sure you're logged in on your PC, console, whatever platform you're playing on, transfer the save. The only weird thing is it only takes the most recent save. It won't take multiple saves, so make sure you've loaded up the right save you want at the spot you want, and then there it is. So there you have it. There's Cyberpunk 2077 on the Switch 2. At the end of the day, if I can play this on whatever I want, I'm gonna play it on my PC. It looks amazing on PC. It's cool that CD Projekt Red went in and kind of made some very specific controls for the Switch 2, but it's not really how I wanna play Cyberpunk. That said, I will be taking this thing with me, and I plan to always keep Cyberpunk 2077 on this Switch so I can knock out a couple missions here and there on my very, very slow playthrough where I 100% everything again.